The best graphics cards are the beating heart of any gaming PC, and everything else comes second. Without a powerful GPU pushing pixels, even the fastest CPU won't manage much. While no one graphics card will be right for everyone. After researching the market, we have come up with the top 5 best graphics card for gaming from the market. They will do what they are intended for and some more. So without further ado, let's start with the video. And don't forget to check the product link in the description.
I think the girls with their nails done now.
Number 1. MSI GTX 1660. The GeForce GTX 1660Ti is exceptional at doing what it's designed to do: deliver a moderate-cost GPU option to gamers in search of solid refresh rates in 1080p without frills like ray tracing. Some in the PC gaming community might see the GeForce GTX 1660Ti, NVIDIA's first GTX-branded Turing GPU, as NVIDIA's admission that the world wasn't ready so soon for the ray tracing features in its RTX line. But video cards are roadmapped much further out than just a few months. So while this graphics card takes NVIDIA's RTX tech a step backward, removing some of its future-looking flagship elements, that was the plan all along. The result is a chopped-down, smoothed-out Turing architecture card that emphasizes value for players today. Few can afford Plus for a muscle card, and the GTX 1660Ti fills the needs of a specific subset of gamers, but also holds its own against slightly more expensive cards like the GeForce RTX 2060 with older AAA titles. In its MSI-made form we tested, it's a winner in a price band close to, but discrete from, that of the also excellent, Editor's Choice-winning RTX 2060 Founders Edition. NVIDIA has been winning for a while, and winning a lot. Whether it's sending AMD's Radeon cards to the cleaners with regularity in benchmarking face-offs, seeing its stock price increase 10 times over in 2 years, that makes this card a close contender for an Editor's Choice Award, but we think the GeForce RTX 2060, especially in Founders Edition trim, makes for the widest-ranging winner in this price range. If you want a mid-priced card that will give you an advantage over your opponents in the online arena, look no further than the MSI GTX 1660Ti Gaming X 6G. However, if you're interested in future-proofing your card and have an extra to spare, you might want to go with the GeForce RTX 2060 instead and save yourself the hassle of needing to upgrade again once ray tracing and DLSS become more popular. Number 2. MSI RTX 3070 LHR. A fierce follow-up to its killer GeForce RTX 3080, NVIDIA's beautifully engineered RTX 3070 Founders Edition is a practically perfect graphics card. Gamers aiming for high-resolution, high-refresh 1440p or 4K play will find today's best price for performance engine right here. Faster than RTX 2080 Ti. You might have seen NVIDIA's claim a few weeks back. We saw it, too. That was a tall order for NVIDIA's Ampere-based GeForce RTX 3070 Founders Edition graphics card. The mission: beat last generation's top-end Turing card, and do it for less than half the price. Well, the numbers are in, and we have to give NVIDIA some serious props. In our tests, at 4K resolution, the RTX 3070 indeed pulls off the framerate wins at times, and when it can't, it is very close. Meanwhile, it trades blows with and sometimes ties the RTX 2080 Ti at lesser resolutions. It's not a by-the-numbers TKO, but in a larger sense, what the RTX 3070 does is still a knockout. Plus, it flattens RTX 2070 cards in our suite of benchmarks. The expertly designed GeForce RTX 3070 Founders Edition is not the absolute fastest video card on the planet, but it deals almost every other card on shelves today a brutal takedown. It earns our Editor's Choice Award and a perfect 5-star score as the best video card value of this. Though most of PC Lab's game tests are maxed out in graphical fidelity to push the cards to their limit, multiplayer gaming is all about maintaining the best balance between graphical fidelity and frame rate. From the design, to the specs, to the performance and the price, this is the rare card that doesn't miss a beat. There's effectively no scenario where upgrading to the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 Founders Edition isn't worth considering if you're looking at playing games at 1440p or 4K today. Number 3. EVGA RTX 3050 XC. The GeForce RTX 3050 is a strong junior entry into NVIDIA's peerless lineup of Ampere-powered RTX 30 series GPUs, and this EVGA XC black card is a corker for 1080p play at a near-budget price. Budget graphics card remains an oxymoronic term here in 2022, but it all depends on where you draw the budget line. At least on list price, NVIDIA is making an effort. Its GeForce RTX 3050 desktop GPU, launching today, starts with cards at an ostensible $249 list price, and it's the new GPU that has impressed us the most in 2022 so far. We tested it in the form of EVGA's GeForce RTX 3050 XC Black Gaming 8G, one of a host of RTX 3050 cards launching today. As a ray tracing engine, the card performs surprisingly well, keeping price for performance pace with the GeForce RTX 3060, and it sometimes clears the 1440p/60 frames per second hurdle that many gamers aim to jump. The EVGA tops both the venerable GeForce GTX 1060 and the list NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650 Super in testing almost universally. We can't predict how much stock NVIDIA's card partners will be able to serve up. But given its Editor's Choice Award-winning performance, if the Radeon RX 6500 XT represented the peak of video card tulip mania, let's hope the GeForce RTX 3050 marks the start of a return to a more reasonable reality. It may not be the ultra-budget card that some were hoping for, but its performance elevates the standard for high-performance 1080p gaming while bridging the gap to 1440p play. There's a chance that the crypto market could have fallen further between the time this review went live and when you are reading it. If that happens, the biggest difference between the Radeon RX 6500 XT and the GeForce RTX 3050 will be that only one of them, you guessed it, the latter would still be worth its current list price after the digital currency dust clears. Number 4. MSI RTX 3080 LHR. If you're a current, is that a pumpkin? A leaf falling off a tree? Well then, it must be that time of year again when NVIDIA invites us back into CEO Jensen Huang's kitchen to watch new graphics cards pulled from his oven of technological delight. This time around, his team has baked up a sequel to the original GeForce RTX line of 20 series cards. The flagship of the stack, the $699 NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 Founders Edition, features new architecture, a brand new cooler, a revolutionary PCB design, and tons more compute cores to boot. This launch represents a new approach for NVIDIA. In part, it falls back on technological revolutions past, but it also forges its own path forward, with fresh solutions to old problems that could, over the next few years, revolutionize how PC gamers interact with their favorite games and creative applications. With a slew of new software offerings juiced up by incredibly powerful hardware, the new RTX 3080 Founders Edition is a triumph of graphics card engineering and performance, earning our editor's choice as the new king of 4K gaming and the next great step in GPU evolution. For K-Gamer, NVIDIA's ferocious, field-redefining GeForce RTX 3080 graphics card is the only one worth considering. In short, the GeForce RTX 3080 Founders Edition is among the most beautifully designed, well-supported, and uniquely powerful GPUs ever released. It's a sea change in modern graphics card manufacturing, and it represents a new era for a venerable company that shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. You want the best that 4K gaming has to offer in the second half. Then you want the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 Founders Edition. Simple as that. Number 5. Piney GTX 1650. Zotac's punchy GeForce GTX 1650 Super Twin Fan is markedly better than the non-Super GTX 1650 and a solid version of this mainstream GPU. It gives budget-focused 1080p gamers a better option against competing AMD cards in the same price bracket. Did we ask for it? Not really. Is it here anyway? Most definitely. does it game well? Yeah, actually. The Zotac GeForce GTX 1650 Super Twin Fan is the first GeForce GTX 1650 Super card we've tested, and it is a decisively more compelling mainstream graphics card than the original GTX 1650. But the line between GTX 1650 and GTX 1650 Super models is so thin that if you just glance at the differences, you might miss them entirely. Even so, this Zotac card does exactly what its name suggests it should. It performs better than a GeForce GTX 1650 and in some cases, AMD's competing Radeon RX 5500 XT, while performing slightly under what we saw in the GeForce GTX 1660. If you were considering the GeForce GTX 1650, the GTX 1650 Super is clearly the better buy, and it just edges out AMD's latest on value, if not absolute speed. It will get you to the midpoint of powering most games in 1080p at a frame rate above 60 frames per second, so long as you tweak your settings accordingly. It earns a new Editor's Choice Award for budget cards. Does it always outperform the Radeon RX 5500 XT when it comes to AMD's current competition at this tier? The GTX 1650 Super does underperform comparatively in many cases. But the inconsistent results garnered in testing the Radeon RX 5500 XT in the early going means the GTX 1650 Super is still, by a nose, the stronger recommendation between the two, especially given the $10 savings you get for going with NVIDIA in this case.